Donald Trump just shook up American politics with his latest State of the Union speech. From shocking policy shifts to fiery political battles, this speech could change everything. But how? Let's break it down. What really happened, what it means, and how it could shape the future of the U.S. Welcome to Cash Calls. Let's dive in. 1. Democratic disarray. Trump's address put the deep divisions within the Democratic Party on full display. Many Democratic lawmakers chose different approaches to respond. Some boycotted the speech altogether, while others attended but engaged in symbolic protests, such as wearing pins or refusing to applaud. This lack of coordination highlighted the party's struggle to present a united front against Trump's policies. The speech served as a test of their ability to counter his influence, and the results showed significant fractures within their ranks. Some Democrats advocated for a more aggressive stance, while others urged to focus on policy rather than personality-driven opposition. This internal discord has weakened the party's effectiveness in challenging Trump's agenda. Without a clear and cohesive strategy, Democrats risk appearing reactive rather than proactive. The response to Trump's speech showcased a party that is still searching for a defining message, especially as the next election cycle looms. 2. Stable poll numbers. Despite the dramatic nature of Trump's speech, national polling data suggests that it had little impact on shifting public opinion. Supporters of the former president largely reinforced their backing, seeing his speech as a strong reaffirmation of his policies and leadership style. Meanwhile, his detractors remained steadfast in their opposition, with many expressing frustration over his rhetoric and policy positions. This stability in polling numbers indicates that Trump's base is firmly entrenched, while his critics are equally resolute in their disapproval. This lack of movement in the polls reflects the broader polarization of American politics. Unlike past State of the Union addresses, which sometimes led to noticeable shifts in public perception, Trump's address largely served to solidify existing views rather than change minds. This suggests that, moving forward, major political events, including debates and legislative battles, may have limited influence on altering the core dynamics of Trump's support and opposition. 3. Viewership metrics. Trump's address drew approximately 36.6 million television viewers, a significant figure that surpassed the audience of President Biden's final State of the Union speech. However, while this number reflects strong interest in Trump's presidency, it also represents a decline from his earlier addresses. His first speech to Congress in 2017 attracted even higher numbers, which suggests a shift in how Americans consume political content. The rise of digital media and alternative news sources has likely contributed to this decline, as more people turn to online platforms rather than traditional TV broadcasts. Despite the drop, Trump's ability to command such a large audience underscores his continued influence in American politics. His supporters remain highly engaged, tuning in to hear his message directly rather than relying on media interpretations. 4. Contentious policy proposals. Trump's speech featured several policy proposals that immediately sparked heated debates. One of the most controversial points was his call to revisit the CHIPS Act, which had originally been designed to boost semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. While Trump argued that modifications were necessary to prevent foreign influence over American technology, critics saw this as an attempt to undo bipartisan legislation that had already been implemented. Additionally, his stance on border security funding reignited partisan clashes, with some lawmakers accusing him of using immigration policy as a political weapon. These policy suggestions set the stage for fierce legislative battles in the months ahead. Republicans in Congress will likely push to advance Trump's proposals, while Democrats will fight to block or modify them. This dynamic will test the balance of power in Washington and determine how much of Trump's agenda can realistically be implemented. 5. Foreign policy stance. Trump's address featured strong remarks on international relations, particularly concerning the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. He criticized current policies and suggested that a new approach was needed, one that would prioritize American interests over continued military aid. This stance immediately drew backlash from Senate Democrats, who responded by introducing resolutions condemning Russian aggression and reaffirming support for Ukraine. The sharp divide over foreign policy reflects a broader struggle within Washington over the future of U.S. global engagement. Trump's rhetoric also put pressure on Republican lawmakers to clarify their positions on international affairs. Some within his party support a more isolationist stance, while others believe that America must continue playing a leadership role in global security. 6. LGBTQ+ community concerns. One of the most controversial moments of Trump's speech came when he made misleading claims about transgender issues. He suggested that transgender rights were being weaponized in ways that many advocacy groups found offensive and inaccurate. His remarks fed into ongoing culture war debates, further polarizing an already divided nation. LGBTQ+ organizations were quick to condemn his statements, arguing that they reinforced harmful stereotypes and could contribute to increased discrimination. This aspect of the speech also had political implications, as it signaled Trump's continued reliance on social issues to energize his base. By framing transgender rights as a threat, he played into the fears of certain conservative voters while alienating progressive audiences. 7. Republican unity. Despite the controversies surrounding his speech, one of its clear outcomes was the consolidation of support within the Republican Party. Trump successfully reinforced his leadership, presenting himself as the undisputed figurehead of the conservative movement. His emphasis on border security, economic growth, and military strength resonated with GOP lawmakers, many of whom echoed his sentiments in post-speech interviews. The address helped rally Republicans around shared priorities, making it clear that Trump remains the dominant force within the party. This unity will be crucial in upcoming legislative battles and the next election cycle. With Democrats struggling to present a cohesive strategy, a unified Republican front could give Trump a strategic advantage. 8. Media reactions. The media response to Trump's speech was as polarized as the country itself. Conservative outlets praised his boldness and policy vision, while liberal commentators criticized his rhetoric as divisive and misleading. Major news networks dedicated extensive coverage to analyzing his remarks, with many fact-checking his claims in real time. This media frenzy ensured that the speech remained a dominant topic in political discourse, further amplifying its impact. The way different media outlets framed the speech also influenced public perception. Right-wing networks focused on his economic policies and promises to strengthen national security, while left-leaning outlets highlighted his controversial remarks on immigration and social issues. 9. Public engagement. Social media exploded with reactions to Trump's address, with supporters and critics engaging in heated debates online. Hashtags related to the speech trended for hours, with millions of posts dissecting his statements. This high level of engagement demonstrated that, love him or hate him, Trump remains a focal point of national conversation. His speech successfully energized his base, while also provoking strong pushback from his opponents. The public reaction also mirrored the deep polarization of the country. While his supporters celebrated his message, critics decried what they saw as misinformation and divisive rhetoric. This passionate response underscores the challenges of governing in such a fractured political landscape. 10. Legislative implications. Ultimately, Trump's speech set the tone for upcoming legislative battles. His policy proposals will now be debated in Congress, where both parties will fight to shape the final outcomes. The address served as a rallying cry for Republicans to push forward with his agenda, while forcing Democrats to strategize their opposition. The speech also signaled which issues will dominate the political landscape in the coming months. From border security to economic reforms, Trump made it clear that he intends to shape national priorities. Will Trump's speech change the game, or is it just more political drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Cash Calls, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the biggest financial and political moves shaping our world.